All right, are you ready to try this life hack to use this invisible force to help you shed layers and layers upon layers of fear? So that's exactly what we're going to do today. And I know some of you are like, okay, that doesn't sound very exciting. It doesn't sound like anything I want to listen to, but you have this opportunity to let go of a lot of fear. So let's go ahead and have a chat about this. So this invisible power is power secret to shed fear. So my name is Nancy. Of course, if you're new to my channel, you're highly welcome to be here. I'm so glad that you're here and you belong here, even if you don't understand a word that I'm saying. So I am a registered nurse and I see energy fields and I've been doing this for a long time and I love to study and see how your energy field responds to life. So today I'm going to talk about how your energy field responds to fear so that you can use this secret, powerful technique, which is simple, to start clearing it today. All right, so energy fields are invisible to the naked eye at the 3D levels, but that does not make it any less real. So even if you can't see it, does not mean it's not real. Because I'm a clairvoyant, and when I was in China, I had a Taoist master tell me I was a second degree clairvoyant. Not sure what that means, but I took that to mean that I can see energy with my eyes open. So I can see things that may have no reality based in this 3D world, but in the spiritual world, it's very real. So let's take your aura, for example. It's an invisible force. It's like this egg-shaped force that goes around your body. It's invisible. A lot of times people think, well, we can't possibly have an aura. I can't see it. That's just like woo-woo. However, if someone was going to rapidly walk up to you, you don't know them, or maybe you know them. How many of you have taken that step back before? Their aura just moved right into your aura and you were like, I don't like that. You're crossing a boundary and you step back. All right. And if they move forward, you step back again. And you may have to say, I'd feel a little more comfortable if you just step back a little bit. So when someone moves in, you stand back, you take a step back. Did you know that your aura can move into a room long before your physical body arrives there? Your aura can move into the workspace, move into a room, and people can tell that it's like, oh, I can feel Nancy's going to be here any minute, because that energy moves into the space before you arrive. Now, I do have a little story here, and I'm going to make it super little. I know that I have shared it before somewhere in one of my videos, but when I was a nurse working at the hospital, I could smell this really toxic paint smell. Like it was burning my nose, and I was concerned that the maintenance people were painting in the hallways. It was coming up the stairs. We had patients on ventilators. We couldn't afford to have this toxic paint smell because we had people with very fragile lungs. All right, so I'm just going to jump to the end of the story. The end of the story is, it was about 2 or 3 hours later, there was a patient that came up from the emergency room. Her blood sugars were, gosh, over 1,000, and normals, like 100. Over 1,000, super sick. Her husband comes in. He said, I'm so sorry. I must smell terrible. I paint cars for a living. And I'm sure I've got this paint smell all over me. Well, the reason why it was shocking is because I smelled his aura filled with paint fumes 2 hours before his wife even came to the hospital. And so this is what I mean by I couldn't see it, I could smell it. I had no idea what to connect it to. My fellow nurses thought I was a whack job. They really thought I was going crazy because I went on for 2 hours about this. But this is what I'm saying. It's like, even before you've even gotten in the shower, dressed, bathed, whatever, got your makeup on, and you're a teacher, you probably have already arrived at school several hours before you've even gotten dressed. All right, So this is what I mean by you may not see it, but it is real. Things are really happening. I remember once my niece, I was teaching intuitive development for kids. And I was in the kitchen, I was cutting celery and carrots for the little snack in the morning. And my niece, I don't know, she was like 9 years old at the time. And she said, Aunt Nancy. And I said, yes. And she goes, why did your energy go across the room and look at that stack of books and then come back to the kitchen again? And I'm like, oh my God, did you see that? And she said, yeah. Well, in my mind, I had this rapid question. Do I have enough handouts for the parents? And so apparently my spirit went over there and counted and then came back while I was still cutting celery and carrots. So this is what I mean, that you might not be able to see it, but kids can certainly see it, or other people who are sensitively leaning that way. So again, it doesn't make it any less real. Fear can and does expand your aura. Fear does and expands your aura by blowing it up and out. Fear pushes everything away from you so you can feel safe. It pushes life experiences away from you. It pushes other people away from you. It pushes anything you desire to create away from you. That fear actually can expand and be all consuming to your human energy field. So let's see here. So when I had an out-of-body experience, I went to sleep. There was a flash of light. Next thing you know, I'm standing next to my bed. I'm looking down at my bed, and I'm looking back up, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, who's that in my bed? And I remember thinking it was my 14-year-old son. And I remember putting my hands on the body because I was going to wake him up to go back into his own bed, and my arms went right through the body. And so, yeah, I was terrified. I screamed in my mind. But for me, and my body felt as lifeless as my car in the garage. So I will tell you that I was terrified. I was petrified. Had so much fear. I kept trying to climb back into my body. Like, what's happening? Like, did I die? Like, it's all these questions. I kept trying to climb back in, and the fear and the terror escalated. So I'm going to teach you a little trick about clearing this, my little secret trick. But I began to realize that, because this went on for 30, 40 days, 40 nights. Every night I went to bed, a flash of light, and I would leave my body again. All right. I learned that if I moved away from my body, like 6, 8, 12 feet away, I was in this pure state of love. Bliss does not even explain the experience of love in that universal love, in that the elixir of invisible energy that's around us. It was where you think you could die because you are so loved that you just don't think you can handle it. And so my mind went, huh. And so I glided back towards my body. And when my consciousness moved into the auric field, that terror, fear-filled aura, I felt consumed with fear. I couldn't make a decision. I felt like I needed to desperately do whatever it takes to survive. And then I would move back out of my fear-filled aura, back about 12 feet, and I would be back in that state of love again. What did I learn from that? What I learned from that was, as humans, we walk around with a lot of fear. And as humans, we are constantly feeling we have a lot to be afraid of. And as humans, we are blocking the love. It isn't like the love doesn't exist for us. It isn't like love's not available for us. It isn't like the divine isn't trying to like bathe us in this incredible love light all the time. It's we're so full of fear, we're constantly like, get away, get away, get away. I'm afraid of you and you and you and you and that and this and the other, right? All right. So I was in a state of fear in all aspects of my life. Now, some of you may know I was a hospice nurse as well. And I remember my aunt when she was dying, because remember I said I got led to the out-of-body experience because I had many family members dying. And so she was very sarcastic, and she was close to my age. I think she was maybe 45. And she would drop a lot of F-bombs. And she was in the final weeks of her life. And she goes, well, if anybody boop, 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 beep, 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 knew what the beep, beep, beep was going to happen to me after I die, I sure would beep, 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 appreciate knowing it. But nobody knows what's going to happen. And I'm just sitting there in the hospital room. And finally I said, well, I know what's going to happen. And she said, okay, smarty, if you think you're so smart. And that's how she talked to me. You think you're so smart, then tell me. So what I told her was, when she leaves her body, and I'm speaking to all of you, when you take that last breath and your spirit leaves your body, you are going to be saturated in the fear that your body has of dying, right? Your body's afraid of dying. Your aura is going to be filled with fear. So I told her, run like hell. No, I mean, fly like hell, 12 feet away, 20 feet away, and then you will immediately feel the love, and then you will have no problem wanting to follow the light. And so as a hospice nurse, I told this to people often, that if they're feeling afraid, they may want to hang on to their body, but it's actually just the body is radiating this fear. So, what's the hack? So here's the secret life hack to releasing fear. You must be able to drain the fear out of your auric field. Once it drains out of your aura, if there's any fear in your energy centers, or if you're holding any fear in your lungs or your heart or other organs in your body, it will pour out into the aura to continue to drain. So you must drain that fear. And the number one invisible, power-filled hack is grounding. So this invisible force, if you've been following my teachings for a while, you're going to know exactly what I mean, that you're going to create an image, pretend like there's a grounding force image. And for most people, they like to use the image of a tree. You're going to imagine that tree at the lower part of your body, like part of the trunk of the tree. And then you're going to imagine deep, thick, broad roots shooting straight down, and it's going to go deeper and deeper and deeper to the center of the earth. And then those roots are going to really attach at that magnetic core. Now, at the human level, it's like 3,500 miles deep. You can look it up in a search engine to find out exactly how far the Earth's core is. And so if you were to try to reach the Earth's core in your physical body, you would never make it. I mean, you just wouldn't make it in this lifetime. You couldn't dig that hole deep enough, going underneath the lava and the water and everything. But this invisible force of grounding, pretending, imagining this tree, this anchor, you can drop down to the center of the earth in less than 2 minutes. Now, if you spend 5 to 10 minutes really going slow, really experiencing the deliciousness of this solid form of invisible energy, it's going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you can pretend that this root system goes around the magnetic core and really anchors you in. Once you're anchored in to this invisible force called grounding, then what you're going to do is you're going to intend that layers of fear is going to drain right down the tree trunk of the tree, down the root systems to the center of the earth. It's going to be recycled by Mother Earth. Now, and then you just do another layer and another layer and another layer. And you just imagine all this fear is completely draining out of your aura. Now, what most people begin to experience is they start to feel physically stable. You might start to feel emotionally stable for sure. It's even better to feel mentally stable and have acute focus, and spiritually stable while your spirit's residing in your human body. But you want to release, release, release. Because remember when I said fear expands, makes your aura bigger and expands it further. Did you know that when I've worked with people who are in absolute terror, they're having terror nightmares, they're really triggered, they can't drive, somebody else has to drive them. Their aura can be as big as the state of Washington. Your aura can literally be that big and that full of terror. And so what I do is I really help the person to ground, but it can be a little bit challenging for that person to ground when you have that much fear. So you want to go as deep as you can, drain the fear, go a little deeper, drain more fear, go a little deeper, drain more fear. As that happens, your aura starts to relax close, and then that universal love is really available to support you. Does it require diligence? Yep. When I first was learning how to ground after my out-of-body experience, I would often reground myself about 5 times a day. Now I've been doing it so long that I can tell when my grounding maybe needs to be strengthened, and then I'll just sit, close my eyes, and let it strengthen. So on my website, intuitivemind.org, under products, I think, or under, I don't know. Sorry, I don't even remember what it says. You can find free meditations, and I have a really great one that's for grounding. And I also have a really great one that helps get you in the flow, that can help dissolve that invisible fear that really impacts our lives in a big way. All right, so life hack, ground and release, this invisible power secret to shed fear. So highly recommend it. And if you really want to take charge of your life again, do it every day. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I would love to have you ground, release fear, and then come back and write a comment about how that impacted you. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.